Good morning, students. So in this presentation we see about the unit 5 building components and structures. So as we are all know about buildings, it is a roofed and walled structure built for permanent use. Actually, for constructing a building we need different components. So in this unit we cover all the components required to build to construct a building. So basically the buildings are classified based upon the use. For example, residential building, educational building, institutional building, or assembly, or maybe a business building or industrial buildings. So these are the some of the classification based upon the use. So in this components, that is in building components, so we are classifying in two conditions. So first one is the substructure, another one is the superstructure. So substructure is nothing but the lower portion of the building, so usually known as foundation, that is known as a substructure. Why? Because so it transmits the load of the superstructure. So from these words, the superstructure is nothing but a part of a building which builds above the ground, that is known as superstructure. So this is the main classification of building components, that is substructure, normally known as a foundation. So another one is the superstructure, that is built above the ground. So here we are listing some of the components of a building. So normally basement, plinth, walls and columns, floors, doors, roof structures, parapet, floor finish or sand filling, foundation, concrete. So these are the some of the components. So mainly if it is a basement, so it is known as the floor of a building below the ground level, that is known as basement. So here this basement is not used for residential purpose, so just it gives the support to the building. That is why we need some basements if you are constructing a new building. For example, walls and columns. So it is a vertical component of the superstructure used to transfer the load of roof and its weight to the foundation. So foundation is nothing but always we are referring below the ground. So if it is a superstructure, we are referring the above the ground. So these are some of the components we used in the buildings. So here foundation. So it is a part of the structure which is in direct contact with the ground to which the loads are transmitted. So here whatever may be the weight or maybe the loads which is acting only to the foundation. So we need to construct some good foundation for a building. So a weak foundation destroys the work which built upon it. So the figure clearly shows. So if you are having a weak foundation, definitely the life of the building is very low. So we need to construct a good building, so we need good foundation. So that is the main thing. So the function of the foundation. So why we are planning to construct a good foundation means we need to distribute the load evenly. So for that we need to give the good foundation. So the load of the superstructure, we are transferring the load of the superstructure to the ground. It should be an even. So second one, reduction of load intensity. At the same time, reduction of differential settlement. So here the word settlement. So settlement is nothing but the displacement of the building. So that is a settlement. So settlement of the foundation. So which only focusing the displacement. Why? Because the properties of the soil, it may vary depending upon the condition. So there may be some deflection or displacement, so due to the weight of the building. So the next, safety against the sliding and overturning, safety against the undermining. So these are all also the some of the functions. So undermining is nothing but here the foundation protects the building against the undermining by for example flood water. So we need to give the support, or maybe we need to protect the foundation if it is in flood water. Then provide firm or level surfaces or against the soil movement. These are some of the functions of foundation. So the requirement. So we need some requirement for a good foundation, that is constructed to sustain dead load and imposed load to transmit them to underlying soil. So normally we have the different types of loads. So it is also classified based upon the load which is acting. So we need to construct the foundation to sustain or to withstand the load, whatever may be the load which is acting on the building, on the foundation. So second requirement is rigid to avoid differential settlement. Already I told you, settlement is nothing but a displacement of the buildings. So here we need to protect the displacement. The third one, taken to sufficient depth, then performance should not be affected due to unexpected future influence. So these are some of the good foundations. Then the foundation design, which is based upon the bearing capacity of soil. So normally the bearing capacity, we need to do the calculation or finding the capacity of soil. Why? Because based upon the properties only we are constructing the good buildings. So that is why we plan to design based upon the bearing capacity. So here there are three types, that is ultimately bearing capacity, safe bearing capacity and allowable bearing capacity. So there are three kind of determination test for determining the capability of the particular soil. So third one, next one, settlement of foundation. So the settlement of foundation, we are also considering the uniform settlement and differential settlement. So already I told you the bearing capacity, we are having ultimate bearing capacity, safe bearing capacity, or so these are some of the bearing capacity, so which based upon the properties and positions and physical features, like it may be type, size and shape. So the bearing capacity is nothing but here we need to determine the capability of the soil. So it is based upon the pressure intensity. Why? Because we are always relating with the load of the buildings. So we need to give our protection against the load. So that is why we are calculating this kind of the bearing capacity. So this is the settlement. So from the figure we quoted three different figures for giving the displacement of the particular buildings. If you have seen the first figure, that is no settlement. Here there is some weight or load which is acting on the foundation or maybe a substructure, but here there is no displacement or displacement present which is present in the ground, and it is known as no settlement. So the second figure shows the total settlement. So here it gives the complete deflection or displacement of the whole building throughout the area. That is known as total settlement. Why? Because if we need a good foundation, the load must be even. So if you are having the even load, then automatically we are obtaining only the total settlement. So if you are giving the differential load or uneven load, then we get differential settlement. So it is seen from the figure 3. So these are the settlement of foundations. So the explanation of the settlements is here. Next one, the causes of settlement. So why we are facing these kind of problems? So this is due to the weight of the structure. So the main criteria is weight or load which is acting on the foundation. Then due to the increased load on the surrounding soil or lowering the water table or vibrations from moving machineries. So if you are constructing the buildings for the power plants or maybe some other work, so there is some production of vibration. So if the vibration is more, automatically it also gives some causes or effects. So the causes of differential settlement. So no uniform load distributions of foundation. So already I told you. So if it is a differential settlement or uneven load which is acting on the ground or a foundation, definitely there will be some differential settlement. So this is because only of the load distribution. So these are some of the points. This causes of foundation failure. So the same thing will repeat here: the unequal settlement of subsoil or unequal load or the pressure or maybe the vibration or shrinkage here, the horizontal movement of soil adjacent to the structure, lateral escape of the soil beneath the foundation. So these are some of the causes of foundation failure. Next, we move on to the next topic, types of foundation. So there are two types of foundations are there. So one is shallow foundation, another one is the deep foundation. So these types we are dividing or we are classifying based upon the depth of foundation and width of foundation. Here if it is a shallow foundation, here the depth of foundation is less than or equal to width of foundation. So if it is a deep foundation, the depth of foundation is greater than the width of foundation. This is the main classification. So the types of shallow foundation, that is isolated or column footing, wall or strip footing, combined footing, continuous footing, cantilever footing, or and final one raft or mat foundation. These are the some of the types of shallow foundation. So if we coming under the shallow foundation, definitely we are maintaining the depth of foundation is less than or equal to width of the foundation. So these all the foundations are always we are maintaining the depth of the foundation is less than or equal to the width of foundations. So first one, isolated. So here when the load on the column is very less than the spread given under the column. Here we are giving the three figures for easy understanding purpose of this isolated or column footing. So which is only provided for maintain or giving the support to the foundation. So there are three types. One is a single footing, stepped footing and sloped footing. So from the next figure it clearly shows. So here this is the example for single footing. So here we are placing the column in a particular separate footing. So for giving the more strength to the building. This is the single footing. So if it is a stepped footing, so from the figure 2 it clearly shows we need to maintain one more step for giving the support to the same columns. So likewise from the figure 3, that is a sloped footing. So next one, wall or strip footing. The only difference is here we need to provide the wall throughout the footing. That is the main difference between the isolated or isolated column footing. So here the wall which is present above the footing or above the foundation is throughout the length. So that is the main difference. Here it is mentioned wall or strip footing. So for example, here this is the example for wall or strip footing. So next, the third type, combined footing. So as its name represents, so here we are adding one or two columns in a same footing or same foundation, and it is known as combined footing. The structure of footings may vary, but we are carrying two columns in a same footing. That is the main thing, that is combined footing. So this is the example for the combined footing. Here we are having the same only one foundation with two columns. This is the main example for combined footing. Next one, continuous footing. Again, the name is also having the answer. It represents the answer, that is continuous. So we are placing different columns or continuous columns in a same footings. That is known as continuous footing. But in combined footing, we are only placing two columns. But here we are placing more than two columns. That is known as continuous footing. Next one, cantilever footing. So already we know that a cantilever is nothing but here one end of the footing is fixed, another end is free. Here the both ends having the load, that is a column, or we are having some construction of that particular building. But here we are joining both the ends with the strap. Here it is known as, it consists of eccentric footing. Why? Because so we are placing the footing in a particular distance, but we are adding one more column at some distance, that is eccentric distance. That is known as cantilever. So this diagram, it shows the cantilever footing. Here the column footing and eccentric load footing are different, but we are joining these two with the help of strap beam. So for obtaining the good strength, so we are combining both the footings. That is known as strap or cantilever footing. So this is the example for strap or cantilever footing. So next one, the last one, raft or mat foundation. The raft foundation is combined footing which covers the entire area beneath a structure and supports all the walls and columns. So here, so this is the example for the raft or mat foundation. So it shows, though we are placing n number of columns but in a same foundation. So likewise here it is also differs from continuous footing. So this is the example for raft or mat foundation. So these are coming under the shallow foundation. So normally we have two types of foundation. So one is shallow foundation, another one is the deep foundation. So in shallow foundation we are always maintaining the depth of the foundation is less than or equal to width. So we are maintaining all the types, is depth is always less than or equal to width. So these are some of the raft or mat foundation. So here, so when we are moving to the raft foundation, so what is the importance of raft foundation? Here the building loads are heavy, then we move on to the raft foundation. The allowable soil pressure is small, then we move on to the raft foundation, or highly compressible soil, then move on to the raft foundation. These are some of the key points where we are using the raft foundation. So this is I conclude this presentation. So up to now we are seen about what is meant by building, so different types of buildings, then what is meant by settlement, then bearing capacity, then types of foundation, then types of foundation. Okay, thank you.